Hi, folks. Welcome to Hang the Mark with Harry and Mark. I'm your co-host, Mark. This is your co-host, Harry.
Hello.
We're two idiots who like to talk to them, but fuck, I'm always so close. Two idiots things talk no about for no. Fuck. God damn it.
We
I
can
don't know if I
redo
can
it if
go
you
on.
want.
No, no,
No.
no, no. I can't do that to myself. We
hmm
hope you're doing wonderfully, folks. I'm doing subpar.
So,
If that's on par, then I'm subpar. I don't know. Fucking the intro just fucked up this entire thing. God damn it. Hi, we hope you're good. Yeah. All right. Bye.
gonna have to keep
Harry,
trucking.
Harry, how are you? How are you, huh?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Good. Good.
I mean,
Harry,
you,
tell me about your week.
my week has same old, same old. Nothing crazy, unfortunately.
It's always crazy with the hairster.
Yeah.
Always. Okay? Don't ever undersell yourself, okay, pal?
hmm
Ever.
well, okay. So I stand corrected. I actually went
Yeah, that's
to
what I thought.
a funeral on Tuesday
Oh.
of a friend from high school in Stockton. So like years back. So yeah, I did that. Completely forgot.
Jesus,
Um,
Harry.
I know, horrible of me. Um, but other than that, same old, same old.
Oh, that's so pleasant. Isn't that pleasant, viewers? Well, get all of the ears on this. R.I.P. Friend of Harry. Not
Mm-hmm.
rest in peace, rest in power.
Mm.
And I wish whatever afterlife, if at all you believe in, is bountiful in whatever you desire and plentiful. They're the both. Fuck, Jesus, what's wrong with me tonight? They're the same goddamn thing.
Yeah, I'm not helping either.
It's okay. It's okay. This is a tough time. This is a turbulent time in our time.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay? I wish your friend fuck. I don't know what to say. You
That's
do have my
perfectly fine.
condolences, bud.
Yes, thank you.
You know what
How
I
was
feel like right now? I
yeah.
feel like the guy who wants to help but always
Yes.
makes it worse.
Mm.
Yeah. But it's
Yeah.
okay. No,
It's
it's not okay.
it's the thought that counts.
You know what? People say that when they don't have anything better to say.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Well, jokes aside, you do have my condolences, bud.
Yeah, for sure, dude. I know.
If
Thank you.
only you didn't hide that emotionally from me when we were playing Divinity on Tuesday. Now I just feel manipulated.
Oh God, that's right. We
You
played
just
games on Tuesday.
you just played fucking Divinity with me like a fucking madman, like nothing happened.
Yeah. You know. Sorry. I go through
I
my
noticed you were a little angrier when we were playing. You were just lighting the dead bodies on fire. I was there. I knew something was wrong. I just couldn't pin
excuse
down
me.
what.
You were lighting me on fire.
I will not lie. I actually felt really bad this time because whenever I try to not play incompetently, I always play more incompetently, and I
hmm
could tell I was pissing off Yvette this time a little bit with how like fucking awful I was. So yeah,
I don't
that
know.
was fun.
I think because he's like super into Diablo right now, so he was probably just like eager to like get Divinity over with, so he can go play Diablo.
Mhm.
Um, but also maybe you fucking destroying your
It
team
it
also didn't
it
help.
makes it feel even worse now because it's like, oh, I don't want to be here, but you're gonna make me fucking suffer every step of the way.
Yeah,
Jesus.
fuck yeah, dude. It's great. Makes for
My
great content.
God. Fucking not even.
Not
Yeah.
even.
Great content is me just pissing off the one guy. God.
Yeah.
You know how to, you really know how to fucking, what am I saying? Jesus. This is not podcast material. Oh man. And I'm pushing to make sure that we go through with this episode.
Hmm.
Jesus.
Well, okay. So tell me about your week other than what we just discussed.
Well, about 20 minutes ago, I heard my friend went to a funeral on a day that we were hanging out and acted like nothing happened.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm teasing. Well, no, that actually happened. Um, so let's see. Monday, nothing. Tuesday, almost nothing. Um, I've been playing Divinity, as we've been mentioning to the
Mm-hmm.
audience. And again, I've actually really been enjoying the turn-based combat. I don't think I've enjoyed it. Uh, I've really enjoyed that kind of gameplay before, but I really
Mm-hmm.
do like the oh hey, like here's the video game equivalent of D&D style combat, or like here's the turn-based stuff.
Yeah.
Actually having a lot of fun with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
I
I
can't. Oh, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say I agree. When I first got into Divinity, that was like the one thing that really just made me want to keep playing. I was like, dude, this fucking combat system's amazing. Um,
Oh yeah, and it's so much more fun with you guys.
yeah,
I mean, I know, like, again, I'm being a fucking dumbass with the amount of bullshit plays I'm
no,
making, but like, it's really fun, like having that anticipation for when your turn comes up, and you have all these allocated AP points, and you're just like wrecking people one move at a time.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I like it. It kind of makes me want to play XCOM. I was really interested at one point in playing
Mm,
it, and then I heard about the really awful like percentage attack fiasco,
mm-hmm.
and I think that turned me off to it. But I'd actually really
Ah,
like to give that a play.
okay, okay. I think you might have brought that up before or someone else, but yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think I've ever talked about XCOM before.
Oh, okay. Then it must have been someone else.
I really haven't. And I don't. Yeah, you know what? No, that makes sense. I don't even care about XCOM that much. I'm just more interested in playing with friends.
Mm-hmm. Get
Yeah.
behind that.
Oh, so anyway, um, I think I know what's wrong with me. I think I
Oh,
know why I am the way that I am. I have writer's block,
writer's
but
block.
for painting.
Oh.
See, I finished my tall geese
Mm-hmm.
model, right? I clipped it out of its sprue. I sanded down the sides. I smoothed out the edges. You know, it's my first real like gunpla I'm going through, and I I'm dreading putting paint to the model.
Mm.
I'm dreading it. I'm dreading it. Like I'm sitting here and I'm looking at the Enterprise, and I remember when this podcast was like growing spots, and I was like, yeah, I'm painting the Enterprise, and I like this and that, and this fucker isn't even painted yet either. I got the fucking Tau. They're not painted either. I got
Oh
some
no.
work to do, and I'm
Yeah, you do.
afraid. I'm afraid, and I don't know just how to get over this hurdle.
Mm.
But I'm trying, goddammit.
You'll get over it.
I'm trying. It's tough. It's really kind of like writer's block where you feel like you have to like purchase things to make the
Right.
experience perfect, and you
Mm-hmm.
still don't get to it when you have all this really cool stuff. And then you
Right.
think, "Oh, well, I don't have the right paints, or I don't know how to make the right paints," and you're second guessing the shit out of yourself. I'm second guessing the shit out of myself. and it sucks. Like I want to paint. It's just and then there are gonna be people like, "Oh, just paint." But like, yeah, no, of course. That's the point. It's just like I don't think whoever has had that issue before would give that answer. And I've had people
Right.
fucking say shit like that to me where it's like, "Hey, I'm kind of anxious about this." Like, "Oh, we'll just do it." So yeah, that's always fun. So yeah, I gotta kick myself in the ass a bit,
Mm-hmm.
but I will do it in about 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, I digested all of the aforementioned He-Man Masters of the Universe series that
Okay.
I was shitting on, I think about 2 months ago, a month ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have to talk about that. Um, I haven't been managing to get in any gaming time yet.
Damn.
I've had to be courteous to Stace's family. They came up and we treated him a bit, so I didn't really get that much time to myself.
Right.
But trying to get back into the swing of it. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to get more time in with Black and White 2 and especially fucking System Shock. That's what I'm most concerned about. Kind of like getting some genuine time in where I can play this stuff.
Right.
So yeah, I'm excited.
Awesome. Yeah, dude.
So yeah, I mean that's my week. It's still not over yet. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna probably try painting this weekend. Then I think I'm gonna make it a goal.
Yeah. I'll see why not.
Yeah, I know, I know.
Yeah.
I'm really excited. I have a whole bunch of these techniques that I've been putting in use with like sanding and making sure that the model comes out nice and smooth and all that shite. So I'm
Mm.
really excited to put some painting skills to use if I have any, because this will be technically my first actual uh airbrush job or airbrush performance, airbrush iteration. I don't know. This will be my first time airbrushing.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I'm excited.
Dude, fuck yeah. You gotta
Anyway, that's my
uh
week.
you gotta send pictures once they're all done.
Oh, I will. I oh god, if I could gush for a moment. I
Yes.
went online to look at
Mm-hmm.
reference photos for how to paint tall geese.
Oh.
Um, and I found out fucking tall geese is embellished in the Bandai model kit iteration of him a little bit. He's got way more yellow and gold trim. So I'm wondering, like, should I paint over some of that with some white,
Mm.
or should I leave that and leave some of those embellishments? Because I do think some of the yellow trim like gives them a little more uh even like coloring. Like tall geese is literally just white, gray, and gold with a little bit of red. So
Mm-hmm.
in the model, the gold kind of like balances it out because now it's kind of on his knees and it's on his chest and his arms a little bit. But
Right.
there was barely any gold on the actual model in the cartoon Gundam Wing.
Oh.
So not that it really matters. You can like you can be as artistic as you want. I might do something a little different, but I don't know. Like I feel lied to.
Oh.
I do. I need to be told what to do, Harry. I can't
Mm-hmm.
just freely, creatively enjoy the fucking model. I have to be told what to do.
You
It has
know,
to be an authoritarian business the entire time.
it's funny. A lot of people are like that. Uh, I don't know, like, what's the? Did you say like you're not
Pachyderms.
no, like not creative in a sense? Like
Yeah. I think
like
I think in a oh no, go ahead. Go ahead. I wanna
no, 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 I was just gonna continue like just in a sense of like not creative or like can't free, like it's easier for you to, it's easier and also more soothing for you to follow things in order than it
Yeah,
is just
sometimes.
going just all right, let's free ball it or whatever they call it. Not free ball it. What what's
Yeah,
the fucking
sometimes
that's,
it is. No, no,
yeah,
free
like
ball. I like it. Let's free ball. These
it's like
free balls are great.
it's like let's just, wing it and shit, like let's see what happens. Like a lot of people like have anxiety towards that cuz they don't know what's happening,
Mhm.
and so they don't like it. And it makes sense, right? Like me, I'm more of a person who wings things because I'm just like, I don't know, we'll see what happens, and
Right.
then I'll just make do with what happens. Where a lot of people want a certain thing, and if they have to like just create it or do it, or wing it or whatever, like they just they can't do it, or like they prefer not to do it that way. They would find a like purposely go try to find a YouTube video or an article or something that goes step by step on how to do a specific thing.
Mhm. I'm
So
all
yeah.
about that most of the time.
Mm,
Like I think when it comes to modeling stuff,
yeah.
because it's my first, I think I'm
Mm-hmm,
more
mm-hmm.
inclined to trust the original version of it or
Right, right.
the step-by-step equivalent.
Yep.
That's mainly because I don't have any skill. I mean, I don't have any skill in really any aspect of painting or whatever. So it's a
Sure.
little easier for me to start off like listening to the experts and kind of being told and pushed in this direction and getting
Mm.
some degree of skill and then trying to work out later how I can incorporate that in my own way.
Oh god, that's burp. For sure.
But yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
I like a bit
Nice.
of both. I do think you're right. I am geared a little bit more towards like, hey, I kind of want to do it how it's pointed out in the booklet or the YouTube video that says do it this way.
Mm. There's nothing wrong with that. Um. All right. Let's go to the big, 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 big topic this week. It's
Yes.
everywhere. Blizzard Activision. Um,
Yes.
yeah, that's a
So
lot.
that's a giant can of
Yeah,
fucking
it is.
awful bullshit.
Yeah. I'm sure you can explain the details way better than I can.
Not really.
Now, okay. Um.
Um, the way uh, from what I've heard, there was a bit of like a whistle blown about uh sexist and harassing policies that were in effect at not just Activision Blizzard, but Activision itself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, People who are not taken seriously. God, I really wish I researched this a little bit more. I kind of just sprung this on you when we were talking about it. If you want, we
No,
could
that's fine.
talk more about this next week.
No, no, no.
Uh,
So I'll explain what I've read. Basically, it was mainly Blizzard. Blizzard
mhm.
is being, I think, sued, not sued. They're being tried by like the state of California, basically for, like you said, sexual assault allegations, and also like a sexist workplace and all this other stuff. Like they went into detail of like whoever was the whistleblower gave details of what they meant, by everything.
Yeah,
Things
some of the
from.
stuff that I've heard about, yeah, where uh, there's been like the some of the female coordinators were passed up for promotions for
Mhm,
other people who weren't quite deserving of the
yeah.
promotion itself.
Mhm,
Multiple women in this case, um, like people who've just been slacking, and when some of these people have come up and reprimanded them or tried to like whip them into shape over it, HR has gotten on them. There's one instance, I believe, where they were at some kind of event
mhm,
party or something, and one of the female employees was uncomfortable because some of the male employees were making sexist jokes. She went to HR And HR was just like, guys, don't make sexist jokes. This person completely outing them doesn't like this.
Wow.
Just like, just
Yeah.
no sense of tact or like understanding of what the point is behind all this. Why you go to HR isn't really there for the employees, but that's besides the point. But I'm
Right.
sorry, I interrupted. I probably added a lot less understanding
No,
than you would have. Go ahead here.
it's basically that, and then there's things like in the workplace that like they're forcing women to do. I don't remember the details of it, but it's basically like you're saying, like um women specifically being passed over when it comes to promotion, increases in raises, and stuff like that. And like men were forcing women to do their work so they can, as in quote unquote in the fucking what California wrote was so they can go off and play Call of Duty. Uh
Right, they had
yeah.
like lounges specifically where they could just do nothing but play.
Yeah, exactly. So, there's just a lot of shit happening in Blizzard. Um, and for the record, this has been happening for years, obviously, right?
Yeah.
So, where Activision comes into play is that I'm sure it happens in Activision as well, you know. But what
Hmm.
Activision specifically got is getting shit for is that they didn't do anything about it. Like when
Right.
this came out, Activision didn't do anything. They just
Hmm.
shut up, didn't say anything, and went off to the little corner and is waiting for this to fucking blow over. And that's what everyone's kind of upset about with Activision is like, dude, there's this huge thing happening, and you guys are just ignoring it. Like that's not okay.
Yeah.
Um,
They just really it's yeah, from what I've barely gleaned of this, they kind of just expected this to blow over. They expected this
yeah,
to be like a, oh yeah, no, this is nothing. This is a nothing burger. It'll be taken care of, and it really wasn't. So
no, yeah, this is I think this is a trying to think of a certain term, not term, but like saying. But yeah, it's like it's way past due that something like this is going to happen. And again, like I said before, this has been happening for a very long time, and it's not just
mhm.
Blizzard. I'm sure Activision has it. I'm sure EA goes through this shit.
I'm sure
Ubisoft, like
this
you.
actually like is in combination with like the crunch culture too. To be honest,
Mm-hmm. Like
because I mean, it's like the coercive nature of keeping someone behind to like work extra hours with
yeah.
possibly no extra pay for any of
Well, yeah. I mean,
this
most
is something that like is not just going to be relegated to just like men. It's this is something that's probably going to affect everyone, including
mhm.
a shitload of female employees too.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, most of these people are paid salary. So
Hmm.
and if they work extra time, they're not getting paid more. They're
Yeah.
getting paid the same. And the issue, because this isn't the first time video game industry has been in trouble with stuff, whether it's sexual assault allegations or pay issues or whatever. So it's like the problem with the video game industry, and hopefully it changes, right? The
Hmm.
problem is that if someone leaves the company, someone's going to be right behind them waiting to take their job, whether it's male or
Yeah,
female. They're
that's what employees tend to say to people too to create precarity, to create a sense of fear and dread.
well, the thing is, like, if you leave for another company, like, oh, you don't pay me enough, okay, the next person's going to get paid the exact same or even less, because it's just
Yeah.
like the thing is, there's so many people trying to get into the industry, and
Yeah.
Blizzard is a huge company in the gaming industry that people are trying to get into. They
Hmm.
might be treated like crap, they might get paid like crap, but they're like, I'm working for Blizzard. The thing is, yes, they do pay like crap, they do treat you like crap, and at some point you do realize, I don't want to be here, I'm going to go somewhere else. Whether the next place is better or not, it is what it is. I'm not sure. But
Right.
there's still so many people, young people, trying to get into the gaming industry.
Yeah.
So It,
It
it,
it if I can go off on a slight tangent for a
go
moment,
for it.
uh, I won't speak any more about the subject that I'm really out of my depth for. I give you a lot of credit. You've definitely thrown a lot of time and effort into talking about this. But this just kind of goes to show that like the gaming industry really needs fucking unions. Like it really needs
Yeah.
people who are capable, not people, but an organization that is willing to stand up for these employees.
Hmm.
Whether there's an existing entertainment division union of some kind, or there needs to be one that just forms from this. Some kind of collective bargaining, the ability to negotiate wages, the ability to negotiate working conditions is something that they need.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty
And
good idea.
because I mean, it's like people will always complain or find something to complain about unions, but at the end of the day, all a union is a collection of people that lobby for the employees
Hmm.
safe conditions or the
Yeah.
rights of the employee. That's it. I get that there are a bunch of things that everyone wants to complain about. I understand that. And there's always a case of a union probably not doing enough. Like, for example, Frito-Lay, uh,
Yeah.
the 80-hour work weeks, no overtime or first unpaid overtime, shit like that. And their union
Hmm.
just got them a 2-year license where they work 6 days a week instead of 7. And that's it. That like I understand that that's still pressured, but like that's it. That kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But like I can guarantee you they wouldn't have got that if it wasn't for a union. So
Yeah.
it reminds me of an instance, which is this is something that I think not many people know about, is when it comes to something like Power Rangers.
Hmm.
You remember the ending of the first season when the red, black, and yellow Power Rangers were just replaced?
Yep.
That was because the production of that Power Rangers, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, had ununioned or non-union workers.
Oh.
Union workers, if so, what's going on essentially is if you're a non-union worker and you don't have any skill, not skill, you don't really need, well, besides the point. If you're a new actor, just like
Hmm.
a lot of these people are for these Power Ranger or shows, uh, you are susceptible to a lot, and I mean a lot, of pressure from these producers or these studios. The set of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers was wrought with just abuse, and they couldn't do anything about it. That's the thing because they weren't union workers,
Right.
and they bargained or they tried to essentially not come into work for higher pay raises, for better working conditions. One of the Blue Ranger was constantly harassed for his sexuality, something that like I'm sure you would probably still have to deal with in the early 90s if you were
Yep.
gay, even if you were in a union job, but something that a union now would probably fight for your right to exist peacefully without harassment. Um, I believe there were several racist remarks towards the first Black Ranger too.
Hmm.
Um, one of the I think that the first Yellow Ranger actually had heat stroke in the middle of all this, and this isn't just like of course there's going to be some kind of injury on the set of something. Of
Yeah.
course there's going to be uh this or that or this or that. The point is that if there is an agency or not an agency, a collective of people in place to
Hmm.
fight for these people's rights, whether it's the film or television industry to the gaming industry, that is better than you just saying, "Hey, I can't work like this." Because if you're just
Yeah.
one person, you're fucked. You're absolutely fucked. I can guarantee you any business you're going to go in, they'll fuck with your hours, they're going to fuck with your wage like who knows how. Wage theft is one of the highest forms of theft in the country.
Yeah.
In the country. And if you injure yourself, they're going to nickel and dime you every step of the way. If they're a small business, and exactly what happened with one of the Jesus, the free tele workers, is
Mhm.
that he was injured by faulty wire on site, and they fired him
Damn.
because he didn't have a union. Because in that environment, it's completely okay to just toss someone aside without paying or without even considering that this person needs to survive, and you just completely ruin that person's life with the switch of a button.
Yeah.
So again, like, I don't know if it's possible to get rid of all sexual harassment. I don't know if it's possible to get rid of crunch times entirely. But what I do know is that if these people had a unioned environment, if they were unioned workers,
Mhm.
this would not be the same environment. These people would have the ability to determine on a higher level their work schedule, some of their pay, the working conditions that they lived in or
Mhm.
worked in. Well, lived in if we're talking about crunch hours. But
Right.
that's just my 2 cents about this, where it's like these people need some kind of representation. They need more, how do I want to put it? That they need a union. They need a fucking union. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. Obviously, where I work, I'm not union. I'm work under a company. Um,
Mhm.
but I know people who do work under unions, and they do a lot for them and stuff like that. I think I would agree with you that a union would help. It's just it obviously it depends on the company, right? If
It
they
can.
yeah, so it's like if the company's not okay with union, it's like who's gonna force the company uh start a union for the workers, right?
But see, that's the thing, is that like the company doesn't want to do, no company would want to
Yeah.
do that necessarily. It's disappointing that the goal of a company is to not have that,
Yeah.
to essentially get the most production out of this person's labor for the least amount of money. That's the
Mm,
point of a company.
yeah.
How much money can I squeeze out of this unit of labor? And it sucks when you hear that a unit is a human being.
Yep.
And, it doesn't matter necessarily. Of course, it's like, yeah, sexual harassment is awful. Yeah, racism in the workplace is awful. Yeah, fucking dealing with toxic work environments is awful. But at the end of the day, this is more of an more of an ability to appease than an aspect of, this is something I really care about. This is less, oh, I strive to have a work environment where people can come to work and they can make video games, and that's it. It's, I make money through video games. I care as little as possible about the environment around which these video games are made.
Mm,
Make it. And that's the disappointing part. That's the part that I think breaks a lot of people's hearts.
right.
And in that apathy that you experience in a company like that is where stuff like sexual harassment just thrives.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
keep in mind, I would be more than willing to believe that some of the assholes who uh who were part of the Gamergate culture are probably in the gaming industry now. Whether or not they're
Yeah.
big figures or anything, I'm absolutely certain that you've still got like that era of people who are coming into the video game uh well, I wouldn't call them skilled enough to even be in the video game industry. But besides the point, I would imagine that you've got people who, before Gamergate even started, existed in this world and acted the exact same way.
Mm,
So, which is actually kind of part of another one of the topics I wanted to talk about. But I'm more than willing to keep talking about this. You're again, you're more of a font of knowledge of this I'm kind of just kicking
Yeah.
myself in the face with it. But God, it just pisses me off hearing about this sometimes.
Yeah, no. I don't know. Like, yeah, like for me, like I am, I don't know. Like again, this stuff, I understand Blizzard and Activision are getting it now, but again, my main thing is this is not just this company. This is everywhere,
Yeah,
and not just gaming companies. Like it's everywhere, dude.
yeah,
This is a thing that especially in the well, I want to. My experience is more in the United States, but I'm sure it happens in other countries too.
hmm
Um, I don't know if more than the United States. It just seems like the United States just because we're a capitalistic, you know, country that it
it's
just seems to
yeah,
be. It seems like it happens more here. You know,
yeah,
where again, I don't live in other countries, so I can't say for sure about other countries. But for here, like it just seems like it's everywhere. I've seen it at my workplace. I've seen it, in other workplaces, like when I worked at like Walgreens, Lowe's, stuff like that. Like I've seen it, right? Everyone's seen it. And it's just the thing is, it's common culture here in America. Um, and I think that's the part that's going to be very difficult to
weed out.
weed out because it's like
Yeah,
it's normal. Like everyone does it. It's like that's what needs to change, but it's like you need to change that mentality for everyone. Like that's
yeah,
hard, you know? Like some people don't even do it on purpose. They just think, "Oh,
yeah,
well,
and
like
yeah.
go ahead."
No, 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 no. I like where you were going at. Please.
Yeah, so like, even people who are being like, harassed, like a lot of people just are okay with like being quote unquote harassed. Like to them, it's like, oh, we're just messing around. It's like, yeah, but they're saying things and or doing things, and they're just like,
Yeah.
ah, it's just a joke, blah blah, blah whatever. It's like,
Well,
and
that
that's the
joke shouldn't be in the environment at all.
exactly. But it's
Yeah.
just again, it's that thing though. It's the mentality of like, oh, it's just
Yeah.
a joke, and it's like because the person who is being done to, they're okay with it, then it must be okay. It's like no,
Yeah.
like they may be okay with it, but you still shouldn't be doing that. And that's the thing that is probably going to be really difficult to get rid of. Like there may be
Yeah.
some workplaces that there is very vulgar, very you know not okay culture happening in there, but everyone there is okay with it. No one's
Yeah.
upset about anything, and they might not have the best pay, they might not have the best benefits, but everyone's okay. They're doing their thing. They get their paycheck and go home, right? Like, and no one's ever going to complain about that workplace because they're
Yeah.
just used to it. They are just used to that environment, and
hmm
it's just not going to change. And that's a very difficult thing to do, you know to change environments like that when they're just not aware of it you know
hmm I
so
think there's a commentator I really really like. Regrettably, he passed about a year ago.
mhm,
But his name is Michael Brooks. I think you might enjoy him. He's very soft spoken,
mhm,
but very capable of just conveying any kind of theory to anyone in the most incredible way possible. Um, he said, "Be kind to people, be harsh to systems."
mm,
Um, and that don't get me wrong, there needs to be a focus on some of the interpersonal stuff, how people treat one another, how people perceive one another. But it's important to say, wow, this culture of people at Activision, not Activision, Activision Blizzard, this needs to stop. And when this is done, it's done. No, you need to consider like what needs to be done to prevent this from happening, and then what needs to be done to stop the things that enable this.
yeah,
It's not just on an individual level. Again, we want to show individuals that like, hey, this isn't okay. Like hey, we need to create an environment that's welcoming and hospitable to everyone. But you need to understand, like, the environment that breeds this kind of thing and addressing that. If you address like workplace stuff, you're solving that one minor thing in that area. You're putting a band-aid on a little wound. I want to
Okay.
figure out how to stop that person from getting the same wound. I want to figure out like how this thing is spreading or what's causing it. What kind of culture breeds this environment? Not just culture, but what kind of institution? Like, how is it that this just kept going, and how is it
Right.
that we're just finding out about this now if it's been going on for years, right? And
Yeah.
that can't just be a culture of people. That's well, yeah, it's partly a culture, but like that has to be part of the nature of the company
Mm.
that it just lets this happen.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
uh, fuck,
Um.
fuck
I think.
Blizzard.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So the last thing I'll say about this whole situation is, um, the whole like obviously there was a walkout. I think yesterday or today, one or the other, either
Hmm.
yesterday or today. Most likely yesterday. And I think that was cool. The not playing Blizzard games or Activision games during that time frame is cool too. It's
Yeah, I quit playing Overwatch. Like I used to play it every day, and now I don't play it at all.
um I just like I guess like when it comes to not playing certain games, like I get it, but like I don't know. Like you've already spent your money buying
Hmm.
the game. Like for example, I played Diablo 3, right? It's a new season that started I think Friday or so, and
Right.
it's something that I'm playing, right? And it's me playing it is not benefiting them at all. They already have my money. They have my
Well,
money
I
for
think
Diablo 3 and Diablo 2.
I think that's well, hold on. I think that would be fair for something like an older game, but I do think there's a difference.
Mm.
I don't necessarily know if it is entirely effective, but consider that like if a massive amount of people didn't play a seasoned game where the main revenue from that game now is from people buying into the seasons and buying things within that season, I think that actually sends a message.
Like
Granted, I don't
yeah.
think it's necessarily a gigantic message. I don't necessarily know how effective it could be, but that I understand where you're coming from. Where it's like
Yeah.
the game is already bought, but the thing is that like that applies to a game where you need to buy it. Or
Mm.
how do I want to phrase this? Where the point of the
Oh,
game is to be bought and played, and that's it for a short amount of time.
yeah.
But something like Modern Warfare
Yeah.
or any one of the new Blizzard games, they require people to play and to buy like constantly and continually, and I think that would do something.
Yeah, I can so my thing was more of like a game like Diablo 3, right?
Uh
Diablo 3, you buy the game and that's it.
yeah.
There's no microtransactions in Diablo 3.
Okay. Yeah, no,
So,
in that
yeah.
case then yeah, it would, it doesn't do much because you've already yeah, I could see that.
Or like in Warzone, you're right because it's a seasonal thing. You spend money and you buy things and stuff like that. I agree. If you want to, especially like you said, it's a newer game where like for example, Diablo 2 remastered. I kind of already pre cheese its dog.
Hello? What?
Sorry, dog. I don't know what's happening out there.
What is going on?
Your guess is better than mine. So like Warzone, it's a season thing, right? So you're spending money putting it in and all that. And like I
Mhm.
was saying, Diablo 3, I already bought the base game and the expansion, and I already paid for my pre-order of Diablo 2 Resurrected. So it's
Right.
like they have my money. Like, there's not much I can do. So like, if I stopped playing Diablo 3, it's like
That wouldn't,
eh,
yeah,
it
of
doesn't
course.
make a difference. Where if people are like, I'm gonna stop playing, because I think Overwatch has microtransactions. World of Warcraft has microtransactions.
Yeah.
There's a
The way I see it is, I think a better way to describe that would be, if you're in the older sense of a video game, you're basically buying an apple, right?
yeah.
You're
Hmm.
buying something that technically does not have longevity, that you can enjoy, and that's kind of it. Like,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, I understand that like people will go back and you can play Spyro or Modern Warfare 2 a million times over. Like, I
Hmm.
get that. But essentially you're playing something that isn't quite meant to last.
Yeah.
Whereas with some of the newer stuff, you're not paying for a game.
Hmm.
You're paying for a subscription service, more like.
Yeah. Certain games, yeah. Like I can see if people don't want to buy games from now on from Blizzard or Activision, I can get behind that.
Mhm.
They don't want to like the seasonal stuff. Like, don't buy into the season. Like that makes sense too. Like, um, it's just when it comes to like older games that I've already spent my money. Like,
Yeah.
why would I not go enjoy it? Um, but I definitely do get the newer games, the games that haven't come out yet, and the games that have seasons that have microtransactions. I get those, and a big thing was streamers didn't play for that time, right? They didn't play
Right.
Activision or it makes sense because that is free marketing for them.
Yeah.
People streaming their games is free marketing, so it's like it makes sense why streamers didn't stream it, especially during that
Mhm.
time during the walkout, right? It's the employees trying to make a stance against the company, so it makes sense why they didn't stream it. No free marketing for them. It's just I guess for me it's just like the older games when I'm like, how many games that Activision has come out with,
Yeah.
like
Oh, yeah.
amazing games. Like, don't I understand that this stuff happened, but like there's games that I've owned that came out under Activision, under Blizzard, that I'm just like,
Mhm.
I love these games. I play these all the time. Like,
Yeah,
I'm not. Yeah.
that goes into what we were talking about a couple weeks ago, where it's not necessarily like death of the author, but it's like,
Yeah.
say you buy a game, is that an endorsement of what Activision Blizzard currently does now? Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
I do think some of that does, on a minute level, it does contribute.
Yes.
I mean, but like, you're buying an older game, does that still contribute even though it was made by people who had a completely different set of controversies? Or not that they
Right.
necessarily did, I'm just saying, they had their own problems or they
Mm-hmm.
didn't.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, is that an endorsement of the current Blizzard Activision, even though the revenue is going to them, but the people who developed it were probably long gone by then?
Yeah. I mean, if the money's going to that company, I would assume so, right?
Yeah.
But if you already own the game, it's like, yo, your money's already they already have your money. Like, go ahead and play your Spyro and your Crash Bandicoot, you know?
Hmm.
Because yeah, that's those are games that are technically under Activision. So it's like I'm gonna keep playing those games,
Hmm.
because I already own the game. Like, it sucks, right? It sucks what it is, but I guess to me, it's like I don't know how to describe it, but it's basically like Blizzard and Activision isn't the only fucking company that this is happening to. This is
Oh, right.
this is
Because
all
it's like, yeah, it's like what we were talking about a long time ago. It's like,
mm,
Naughty Dog actually
mm-hmm.
took a lot of fucking shit for its crunch time, and I
Yeah.
looked up to Naughty Dog for the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think there should, I don't know. I really don't know if there's a more effective way to protest a company. If you don't want to buy the game, like, by all means, don't
Yeah.
don't buy the
Don't
game.
give them your
I'm not
money. Yeah.
I don't want to say like, oh, well, it'd be better off if you didn't have. But I mean, like, go ahead, don't like, dude, you have all the consumer power in the world, but
Mhm,
it's like
mhm.
when it comes to the demograph of the consumer, it's like I don't know. I don't know. I don't know where I was
Yeah.
going with it. I lost my train of thought.
But yeah, it's basically to sum it up, it's Activision fucked up. They should have done something, but obviously they know that they've been doing this for a long time, and Blizzard's just one big company under Activision. There's other gaming developing companies under Activision, so it's like they probably know about other companies that are doing the exact same thing, and they're just trying to shut up. Like, well, hopefully Blizzard gets you know a slap on the wrist, and that's it. But it's obviously becoming more than that. You know,
Yeah.
um, but we'll see, right? We'll see what happens. Hopefully,
Hopefully.
Blizzard gets things in order and Activision kind of, does something, and hopefully it spreads through the other gaming developing companies, not just under Activision,
Hopefully. It's
Yeah.
it's disappointing.
Yeah.
I don't mean to sound like a doomer or anything, but it's you hear about stuff like the Me Too movement, and you're hearing
Mhm.
how some people who have gotten a lot of heat from the things that they
Mhm.
have done, not alleged,
Mhm.
have just kind of crept into the darkness and then just kind of emerged back again, just to be like, hey, what did I miss, and when can I start working again? And
Yeah.
it sucks, and I hope that's not the case for the gaming industry. I hope it's not like, hey, let's just recuperate this person, give them a year or two, and just shuffle them off into a different department of the game, or the developer.
Yeah.
Like, that
Well,
would suck. I think that would be awful, personally.
yeah, going continuing that, I'm going to go off topic of the Blizzard stuff. Going with the Me Too movement and the people who've been canceled, like for me, when it comes to people who've been canceled, I think for me, Max Landis is a big example.
Mm.
Max Landis, went through the stuff, sexual harassment, stuff, and I think I discussed it with you or someone else, where it's like, what if they learn their lesson? What if they do become a better person off of that? Do they continue to be canceled? You
I
know?
think I I don't know. I think it's because we know them in the context of like a film celebrity that we
Mm-hmm.
think if they appear back in television or film that they are uncanceled or that they have redeemed themselves. I think you can personally redeem yourself. I think you could go up to the person that you wronged, be like, "Hey, I'm sorry. I've put in the work to make
Mm-hmm.
sure that not only I don't do this again, but to show to other people that this is not okay, and still not be in the business."
Yeah.
I think that's perfectly fine. I know it kind of sucks, and it's probably not the answer that you were looking for, but it's like I don't think redemption necessarily would include getting your job back.
Yeah. Fair
And
enough.
don't get me wrong, like if there was like a perfect solution where, you know, an actor who is accused or an actress who's accused of sexual harassment does the whole tour, apologizes, and they get the acceptance. They do an apology tour. They put just shitloads of money into charities of people who are sexually assaulted, sexual harassment, and
Mm-hmm.
go on a tour and try to talk about the importance of how like sexual harassment in the workplace or sexually harassing people in period in general uh, is bad. I think that is putting in work, and if a studio wants to take that person back, that's on them. That's on them to take someone back
Mm-hmm.
who, while putting in the effort and doing the work, which I haven't seen anyone do, mind you,
Yeah.
not a single person.
Mm-hmm.
It's up to that company to decide, do I want to take this liability back on now? Because no
Right.
longer are they just an actor, they're an actor whose image has been tarnished, whether or not, or
Mm-hmm.
actress, whether or not um, they've done that tour, there is never going to be an instance where this person is going to come back 100% clean.
Yeah.
Ever.
Like
Ever.
I think um I think I was talking to someone else for this, but like I was saying like I'm going with back with Max Landis because he's the one that kind of brought up the conversation with me and this person. Um like Max Landis is father is a producer as well, right?
John Landis.
Yeah.
Yep.
So someone like Max Landis grew up in that environment. Where again, going back to what I told you about work environments, right? Where certain things are normal, where you grow up seeing this happening. And this goes to racism, you know. People aren't born racist. They're taught being racist, right?
Yeah.
Like if you go into a situation where you grow up and like, oh, this is normal, you know, everybody in this industry does this stuff, so like I guess I do it too, right? And then obviously you get canceled, this and that, like you learn your lesson, like at that point, like is it, you know what I mean? Like it's just like it's just it's not, obviously not every situation like that. I think it's very far in between that this is the situation it is, but it's like how much is it their fault, and is it, if they prove themselves like to be not like hey, I learned my lesson, like I'm sorry, but like you said, the whole tour, right? And then do you think at that point, like I don't think we've ran into a situation. I have not seen a situation like that. I don't know much about what Max Landis did post cancellation and stuff like that,
Hmm.
but you know, I guess to me it's like at what point, you know what I mean? Is it like okay, for sure? You know, obviously again with the internet, there's always going to be someone trolling or giving people shit for no fucking reason, you know,
Hmm.
and bringing up things that they did back in the day that they've already apologized for, right? So it's like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, it's just, I think that just goes into just people being assholes, you know, like, even
Yeah.
though, you know, I don't know. It's just something that came to mind when we're discussing this with the Blizzard stuff, you know?
Yeah, I
Um,
get you.
yeah.
It's again like I really wish I fucking took the time to invest more into knowing what the fuck I was talking
No,
about.
you're good.
I really do. You fucking when it comes to this shit, you make me look like a fucking idiot. I love it. I really do. You when we talk about like really good news, I just want to like go aside real quick. When we talk about like newsy stuff and it's something you've said you want to talk about, you fucking put in effort. And I always appreciate that. Like you come to the discussion with like, oh, this person said this and this is an issue with this, and it's like, oh man, I did not do my homework. And I always fucking hate doing that.
Yeah.
Not the homework, but not doing my homework.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's like, let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Do you think Kevin Spacey should get a redemption
Um,
with his like with his not only multiple allegations,
mhm,
credible allegations by the way, but like the fact that he's making fun of his cancellation in this small cameoed film that he's in, as in mocking the things that these people have come to come into light and talk about.
right.
And he's
Um,
apparently done this over years. Not just this isn't just an instance of Tom Arnold who like who was like jokingly like fondling a woman's breast and then like resigned from his fucking office because of it and apologized to the woman. She said, "Yeah, it was creepy, but I forgive you." This is a guy who like apparently has routinely and consistently exhibited predatory behavior without
mhm,
consideration for recourse.
yeah. Yeah, like
Like should he get the ability to be forgiven? Because it's like it's not on the onus of the how do I want to say this? It's not up to the person doing the forgiving. It really
mhm,
shouldn't be.
mhm,
The person who is assaulted should never be put in a position where they have to forgive someone.
right.
So it's like, should that person who did the assault, if they are in the similar positions Kevin Spacey is in, should they get the redemption arc that we're talking about?
Yeah, I mean, by this point, no, right? I mean, if
Like,
the
here's the
things,
thing. How
yeah,
about this? What if he even does the perfect, like, redemption arc thing? Again, he apologizes. His image is softened a little bit. He goes
hmm
on. He talks about how bad it is. He puts money into charity. He essentially tries to make sure that he produces more good than the harm that he's done.
hmm
Should that, because in my opinion, no. Even then, even if he goes the whole 11 yards, I know that the expression is 10. I was making
yeah,
an expression of how far he should go. But even if he does all that, no, I don't think he should be allowed back into the film industry. I don't. Because I think the film industry is what has allowed him to have that anonymity and that power over people too.
hmm
It's like we were talking about Max Landis, and we were talking about John Landis's father. John Landis is the guy who did Animal House. Animal House
yeah,
is a great fucking movie, but let's be honest, like, a guy literally rapes a woman midway through that movie, and it's treated as a gag. And I'm certain that that would not bode well in a modern audience. And
yeah,
the atmosphere of people that made that probably would not have jobs today. And I would not have a problem with that.
yeah,
And I get that there's context around that and yada yada, but I do still think that applies in some degree.
yeah. I can get behind that. I think I can agree with you with Kevin Spacey. I think, um, just what, like, obviously I don't know details of what he did,
Yeah.
for how long and who's come out and everything, but from what I do know, yeah, it was basically most of his career, and
Yep.
he's an older gentleman, so it's like, it's been a long time, so it's like, it's been a lot of movies and stuff like that. So yeah, I can get behind you saying, like, for me, when I was saying, like, right now, no, in the sense of, like he's had plenty of time to try to, you know save face, as you would like to call it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether he's actually, sorry or not, like, he's had plenty of time to, like you said, do the tour, but he hasn't, right?
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't
And
apologized.
and
He
let's,
hasn't.
if I may,
Yeah.
I don't think a tour will get you.
No, no,
It
no, yeah,
can't
yeah,
just
you're
be
right.
a
You're right.
tour. Like, I'm just saying, like, the most someone can do to possibly even be considered, and
Yeah.
it's all in relation to, like, the severity of the things that they've done.
Yeah. No,
So
yeah. Like I said, I can get behind that because it's like he hasn't done it, right? Like, if he did
yeah.
it before, people came out, or as soon as people were coming out, like, yeah, the thing is, you're right, like, he's been doing it for so long that, like, it shouldn't have been when someone came out. You know what I mean? It should have been before people came out. He would have,
Hmm.
confessed and said, you know what, I've been doing a lot of bad things, blah blah blah. Like, if you're waiting to until, like, okay, hopefully no one comes out, or no one, like, rats me out or whatever, like, you know what I mean, like, that's not okay, right?
Hmm. And
um you know
forget let's be honest. Forget doing the tour
mhm.
and possibly being allowed back into film again. I personally think Kevin Spacey should do jail time for what
Oh,
it sounds like some of the
100%.
things he's done. It's just a
Yeah.
shame that a lot of these are past statute. But seriously, like,
Mhm.
we're here, well, mainly me. I'm not trying to rope you into this, but, like, I we're talking about, like, should certain people be allowed back into the industry after some of the transgressions they have done?
Right.
I don't know, but I know for a fact that some people should get way, way fucking worse sentences, or way, way, way fucking worse consequences than they deserve, or than they're getting right now.
Yeah.
So
No, I can get behind that. I think, a lot of things when it comes to that stuff, like, I think going back to the Blizzard Activision thing, I think there might be some people who probably deserve some jail time. You know, with some of the stuff that's come out. You know, like I'm pretty sure there's some worse things, and you know, it depends on the people who are working for those companies. That are they going to come out now and try to make like you said, do more good than the bad they've done. And stuff like that. So
Yeah.
you know,
Oh yeah.
it all circles back, man. It all circles back.
It's like what George Lucas said. It's like poetry.
All right, let's
Oh
let's
God.
let's let, let's lift ourselves up and let's continue with the we were talking about film. Let's continue that. Tell me
Okay.
about
Okay.
He-Man.
Okay. Okay. So it's not terrible.
Okay.
Okay. So let me back this up. So
Mm-hmm.
before you and I think about 2 months ago, the trailer came out for it.
Correct. Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
I had some rather harsh preemptive things to say about it.
Mm-hmm.
They
Mm-hmm.
might have been a little too harsh, I think. Uh, but I still hold out for what I wanted this He-Man to be. I know I judged the book a little too soon, but I still think some of my criticisms, I think in general, still apply.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that being said, I did not hate He-Man, or let me rephrase that. I did not hate the Masters of the Universe Revelation.
Okay.
Um, it's got some solid storytelling, some subversive stuff in there. We get the chance to really to get to know a couple other people, which is something I actually really enjoy, other than just getting He-Man the whole time.
Yeah.
So let's start with this, okay?
Yep.
To be absolutely clear, this isn't like a reimagining. This isn't a reboot. This is quite literally a sequel to the '80s really shitty Mattel Co. cartoon.
Okay.
So, oh God, the original I think ran for like a year and a half or 2 years and had like 120 something 15-20 minute episodes.
Okay.
Um, and this is a 5-part half hour each little series.
Oh, okay.
Um, visually, I mean, this literally looks like it was updated from the original show. Uh, the cheap sell for toys, I don't care about the quality of the cartoon look
Yeah.
is still there. I feel a little mean because I feel like this is unintentional because I don't care for the animation all that much.
Right.
The animation, I believe, is from the same folks who did the uh, what is it? I could be wrong on this. I'm just talking out my ass in this one. From the same folks who did Castlevania and that Olympus cartoon for Netflix.
Yes.
Um, but they go to great lengths to make you feel like this is a He-Man cartoon. Um, I'm not gonna uh, pretend that I have any bona fides in this franchise. Like I know Master of the Universe existed. I know about the cartoon. I've seen a couple episodes. I was a big fan of when they rebooted the series in 2002. But that's really it. And then I've talked incessantly a couple months ago about She-Ra.
Yes.
Uh, God, I'm looking over the voice cast of this fucking show, and it is amazing. Um, so okay, the art style, while I think bland in a lot of like American animation ways, is typically, I think the overall look tries to capture the aesthetic. of the original He-Man in an updated and modern way. Say what you will about that. Um, it's whatever you prefer, honestly. You can like it, you can hate it.
Mm.
I was not averse to it. Let's put it that way. Um, the voice cast is fucking amazing. Like, you have Lena Headey as Evil Lynn from Game of Thrones, Cersei. You have
Oh, okay.
Mark Hamill, the fucking voice actor legend,
Yes.
playing fucking Skeletor.
That's fucking yeah.
I know, it's so good. You have Sarah Michelle Gellar playing Tila.
Okay.
You have another Game of Thrones alum. You have Liam Cunningham, who played my favorite character in one of my favorite characters in Game of Thrones, Sir Davos Seaworth,
Okay.
playing Man at Arms Duncan. Let's see. God, who else? Um, Let me look this up real quick. While I'm looking it up, um, Phil Lamar was in there somewhere. I just know he was. I heard him somewhere. Tony Todd plays a character called Scareglow. I don't think I've ever seen him in the comics or the cartoon. There we go. I fucking knew it. Kevin fucking Conroy. Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman in the animated series opposite Mark Hamill, is Merman.
Oh.
So good. God damn it. If you could see the amount of people. Oh, the guy who voiced Zahir in Legend of Korra is in it.
Oh, sick.
It's so good. I just like the voice cast is actually pretty impressive. I think some of it varies. You can tell a couple of actors are not quite um I think familiar with how to voice act because it's a completely different medium. Um you and I with a couple old friends used to watch Castlevania, right?
Yes.
And you and I both remarked on the actor, God, what's his name? He played Thorin Oakenshield in The Hobbit. He played
Okay.
Belmont. But
Yeah.
it's like there's nothing on the surface wrong with his voice acting, but it felt off for a an animation, right?
Yeah.
So I get that with one or two of the voice acting performances in this. It's not too great of a thing, but I mean, Lena Headey just like oozes like this charming, evil, villainous thing. Mark Hamill's fucking amazing. He doesn't do
Yeah.
too much of the gruff thing. He plays kind of like a what would happen if Skeletor, the goofy idiot, was just a little more evil.
Mm. Okay.
Liam Cunningham is good. He doesn't get enough of it, in my opinion. Tony Todd is a who played Candyman. I think that would be a better
Okay.
identifier for him, is absolutely amazing. This man, this man right here, his voice is the smoothest fucking scotch, if
Oh.
that was a sound. Like that perfect amount of gravel, but like that perfect smooth finish on top of it. Like
Mm-hmm.
they did not give this guy enough screen time or voice time because I cherish every moment Tony Todd like just says a word. He could say the most disgusting word on the planet, like fucking flapjack enema, and it would sound fucking dastardly.
Mm.
Um. So yeah, the voice cast was pretty good. It's pretty stacked.
Sounds amazing.
The story I am a little torn on because I think it's a little underdeveloped.
Mm.
Uh, but it really shoots for the stars. It doesn't really do anything particularly special. Um, Maybe to the show it's special, but I don't particularly think there's anything great there to begin with. But it's got a solid story. Uh, if I may, spoilers ahead if that's okay for you, Harry.
Yep.
I know you haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, it's fine.
So the first episode. Oh, go ahead.
No, yeah, go ahead and spoil.
Okay. So the first episode begins with the art direction of the original series and kind of goes over He-Man, Castle Grayskull fighting against the wicked and terrible Skeletor, And it really pumps up the idea of how like mystical and fantastical He-Man is. Just kind of like the guy, the hero, the person, you know? Um and it begins with someone assuming the identity of He-Man, taking someone taking no, I apologize. It is an infiltration into Castle Grayskull with a disguised Skeletor and a decoy version of He-Man. Skeletor, somehow no longer wanting to be a nincompoop, has decided to ambush the priestess within the castle, descend into the heart of Castle Grayskull, and steal the knowledge of Castle Grayskull, which is the orb of wisdom, I believe it's called, which is the essentially the center and heart of all magic in all of Eternia and the universe. Teela, the daughter of Duncan, Man at Arms, kind of the mentor to Prince Adam, aka He-Man,
Yeah.
is being knighted to a degree and promoted to Duncan's position as kind of like the royal guard. And this is something she's always wanted. It's a big ceremony, and then once Adam finds out what's happening, uh, he does the He-Man thing, and they all go and they all do battle at Castle Grayskull. So this episode again really highlights how just balls to the wall great He-Man is. He fucking goes in, he wrecks everything, and He-Man unwittingly unlocks the chamber that houses the orb of wisdom, and Skeletor ruptures it. The priestess freezes time just quick enough for her to explain kind of the plot of what's going on. Oh, Skeletor is going to destroy all of the universe and da 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 da. So He-Man, essentially Adam, decides, well, if I can somehow redirect the energy with the sword of power, I don't know, will that work? And she's like, ah, sure, fuck it, give it a try. So he grabs the sword and he splits it in half, and he transforms back to Adam. And fucking Teela sees this and she's like, fuck. This whole time, everyone's been fucking lying to me. And Skeletor's like this, but you're a boy. How are you handling all of my power? I can't do a Mark Hamill. Doesn't matter.
Right.
So, as he's splitting the sword in half, Skeletor like grabs him, and they're both fucking dead.
Wow.
And this is all in the first fucking episode. He-Man, the hero of the story, or the guy that people are selling the hero as, is fucking dead. The world's worst fucking supervillain, Skeletor, is fucking gone too. And I thought this was fucking amazing. I thought this
Mm.
was like the coolest thing since sliced bread, because this gives us a chance to get to fucking know Teela, because this wrecks her fucking world. She goes back. Duncan, they're at the castle, and Duncan's like, "Yo, He-Man's dead," and Adam's father's like, "Oh, we'll miss you, He-Man," and Adam's wife is fucking, or Adam's mother's just fucking bawling, right? And he's like, "Honey, why are you crying?" And she's like, "Your son's dead." and, and his first thing to do is just like, "Duncan, you're banished for lying to me." And on top of that, Teela's pissed because she has like this crisis of faith.
Yeah.
Um, Again, I'll have to watch it again. I think give it two more watches just to give like a, let it sink in a bit. But her kind of understanding of who she could trust is thrown into question. Um, and she gives it up. She gives up being the guard. Um, she gives up all of it. She gives up her father, and she kind of goes and does her own thing. It becomes kind of like a mercenary adventurer with a new character in this story called Andra or Andra. uh, and they are hired by a disguised Evelyn, who is also hired by the priestess to contain the magic that is slowly disappearing from the world. Uh, they are tasked throughout the second, third, and fourth episodes with finding the two pieces of the sword, or finding the two sword pieces, bringing them back together, and bringing the power of, or the magic from the power sword back into the universe.
Right.
Um, I actually really enjoy this period of the show. I think these four, more so three episodes, I think are where the show is strongest. Cringer, who is a useless fucking animal in this franchise, is almost nowhere to be seen, except for a couple really, really good dramatic lines, which make Cringer slightly less obnoxious as a character. And fucking Orko. Orko is a useless piece of shit in the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know why they have him. Like, he's like a Nintendo controller. I just don't understand. Um, and they actually give him a slightly satisfying arc. It's actually fucking amazing. Um,
Okay.
Tila, Andra, and Evil Lyn are tasked by the priestess, because they're all ideologically aligned at the moment, with getting the sword pieces. So they realize that to forge the sword, they need to find Tila's father, Duncan.
Yeah.
Duncan isn't really about that, so he sends his robot self and Orko with them. And Eastman tags along because he's got blue balls for Evil Lyn. So you got this cool little group of people just kind of like doing their own little adventure thing. And every so often, when they're stuck in a situation, they go back to what He-Man would have done, and they do something completely different. I love this because it's like these people have to figure out what to do with their lives when the literal main character is gone. None of these people got the chance to have any autonomy on their own
Mm-hmm.
until this fucking show. Tila gets a brand new fucking outfit. She had the same goddamn outfit for 40 fucking years, and they finally give her this cool, like, over the shoulder, like, boiled leather harness thing that she
Mm-hmm.
has, and fucking pants. And it's
Pants.
fucking great. She gets that cool modern faux hawk thing. It looks really cool.
Mm-hmm.
She's buff out of her fucking mind. They all are. I don't know what's going on with the fucking with the animator. He just does not know how to draw like a thin fucking arm. Every human being, female, male, is just fucking yoked. And it's crazy. Anyway, I'm gonna get to that in a moment later. But I really like the idea of these characters getting to know one another. I
Yeah.
love the fact that we're able to get to know Tila. Tila's literally like the other character. Like, I don't know how to explain her. She's just
Mm-hmm.
another character in the other cartoons. And she finally has something to like sink into. And it's fucking great. It's actually great to see these characters germinate and fucking like build character. Like Evil Lyn is like she's a badass kind of, and you
Mm-hmm.
realize that she has like this crippling self-doubt because of the amount of time she's spent with Skeletor, because Skeletor's a fucking idiot, and she kowtows to him this whole time, but she's way more badass than he is. And they do a great job at not like bitching down Skeletor, but like propping up Evil Lyn, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like they decrease the threat that Skeletor ever had, but they increase the potential that Evil Lyn has. And I really like that a lot. Um, there's this really great bit I love where the first item Evil Lyn sends Tila and Andra to get before you find out that she's Evil Lyn and that she's working for the priestess of Grayskull is a cup, and they have to get it in the ruins of Skeletor's old fortress.
Yeah.
And I can't get over it. I'm sorry. It's so good. So Triclops and oh god, he's the robot guy. Trapjaw or Lockjaw or something. I'm gonna go with Trapjaw.
Yeah.
Triclops and Trapjaw have essentially just started a cult.
Huh.
Like no one else exists in this fort now except for like these like Borg people, and it's it's Triclops and Trapjaw that have this chalice with like nanites, and they're feeding it to people and making them their disciples, and they're talking about how flesh is awful. It's fucking great. Like I think it's great that these two idiots without Skeletor just couldn't find something better to do.
Mhm.
So they just created a fucking cult. I don't know. I thought it was one of the better fixtures of the show.
Mhm.
So they go and get the pieces. Um they to do that they essentially have to go to like heaven and hell, or their equivalent of heaven and hell. So they go to hell, they get one of the swords. They go to heaven, which is like their Valhalla, and they meet Adam, who
Oh.
through his courage is given this resting place, this Valhalla like Asgard place where he can just live out eternity in joy. And he decides to come back, and he
Oh.
risks this eternal paradise to help uh to help his friends and his adversaries that he's his frenemies, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So they go back to Castle Grayskull. He's got the sword. uh it's been reforged into one, and he does the I have the power, and the magic. It's beautiful, it's coming back, everything's reforming. And then the
Yay.
last fucking 45 seconds, Skeletor comes back, mind you, and just stabs Adam in the back, and he's like, oh thanks man, I got the sword now, I have the power, and becomes the new He Bone dude.
Whoa.
Yeah. They actually did it really fucking creepy. Like he says, I have the power. They're like rejoicing for a moment. And then you see the tip of the blade coming out of the front of his body.
Mhm.
And Skeletor's head is right behind Adam. And Adam looks behind in fear. It was a creepily done in a good way scene.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, this is the first half of Revelation. Uh, I want there to be something out of this backstab stabby thing, because Skeletor comes back because he hid his soul in this device that Evil Lyn is using, but I don't
Okay.
think she knew. Oh,
Uh-huh.
and fucking here's another bit. She actually goes back to him uh at the end of the episode. She makes all this really great progress, and I like this, by the way. I really fucking do. She makes all this progress. She actually empathizes with Orko and builds kind of a relationship with him, like a comparative relationship.
Mm.
And at the end of it, when she finds out that Skeletor's still alive, she sighs and then kind of lifts her head up and is like, you know what? I was almost starting to like you guys, and just goes to his side. And I fucking love that. I actually really like that character development,
Mm.
because that's some strong fucking shit right there.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I enjoyed this. Oh, hold on, Orko, and then I'm done.
Orko. Mm.
So you know how Orko's fucking useless, right?
Mhm.
So they go to hell, or their equivalent of hell, and it does the kind of like the see your worst fear vision thing, So like
Yeah.
they separate your characters, and it's like, oh God, what's going on? It's like, oh, so Orko and Evil Lyn are separated together, and they go to some like magic academy where Orko's kind go to learn magic.
Mm.
And Orko confides in Evil Lyn that like magic comes so naturally to his kind, like imps or whatever they are, and his parents didn't name him Orko, they named him Oracle because they named him after the thing they wanted him to be. And in their culture, apparently, Oracle is like the greatest magic user, the greatest magic wield, just like talented. And
Okay.
this motherfucker is so fucking useless. And it just makes his story so goddamn tragic that they named him Oracle after like this position in their culture that's for like strength and wisdom. And and even even for a species or a culture that could just naturally use magic, he never got it. He never got the ability to like properly use magic. And magic is what's keeping his kind alive in Eternia. So in the beginning of the fucking series, when we first meet him, his ass is dying. So he's like, hey, let me tag along for one last adventure, right?
Mm.
So
Damn.
they get the sword. They're being attacked by some fucking villain that you only see in the comic books, but they put them in this cartoon.
Okay.
So props off to them. And Orko fucking casts like a shield. For the first fucking time, he actually casts something that works. And he casts a bunch of them and he holds this thing at bay. And like, he dies. He fucking dies.
Wow.
But like, I cannot tell you how useful they fucking made him and the arc they like the tiny fucking arc they gave him and the rapport that they built up between him and Evil Lyn I thought was fucking great. And they do all this in like one episode. And don't get me wrong,
Okay.
this is like Breaking Bad quality writing. But like for a cartoon that looked as stupid as I thought it was, I was expecting a worse off story.
Uh-huh.
And I got some really great character dynamics that I do appreciate. I really do. Um,
That's good.
that being said, apparently people fucking hate this show.
I mean, yeah, I can see it.
I I don't I'm not the kind of person who's like, yeah, kill off this character, it'll be a great idea. I don't mean to be a contrarian in that sense. I don't want to be a contrarian just for the sake of being like, oh, well, that was unexpected, or like, oh, this goes against everything that fans like, so I like it. I think the death or the backstabbing bit of Adam in the end might be way too much, but I feel like
Mm.
the idea of him dying in the beginning and getting the chance to get to know these characters and what it's like without him
Yeah.
and that these people can succeed without him is important.
Right.
I think that sends a really strong message to other characters that like, hey, we can write other characters who have the same kind of agency that Adam has, that He-Man has, that have the same capabilities that he has. I mean, of course, he's a handsome Thor Hulk like character, but
Right.
like Tila gets a lot to fucking work with. And Tila's like a nothing burger in the cartoon. Like, yeah, she's a character, but it's like no other character, no character in the original comic cartoons. Why do I say comic? No other character in these cartoons has depth. None. None. And they like at least take the time to introduce like fears, anxieties, doubts into some of these characters that I found very refreshing. Yeah, but again, people fucking hate it. I'll get into it next week, but you have fuckers who just pisses me off sometimes. We were talking about, fans and how rabid they can be.
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, we'll set up a discussion for it next week. I will do some research about it. But
Okay.
I think my my initial criticism, I do think still stands.
Mhm, mhm.
Um, I think this show might have been a little better if it was in a She-Ra format, if it was just completely reimagined and built up into this story. Um, I think the trade-off there is that you don't have the emotional payoff for some people if the characters and the stories are different. So, the reason I think this works to a degree is because the art style is because the fact that they treat the first episode like nothing, like you didn't miss anything. Like the 40 years in between when the original Mattel show was off air to now, like that never existed. Like
Oh,
this is just a more up-to-date version of this show. So the idea of having that 40-year baggage and then the very first fucking episode, He-Man just fucking bites it. Like they prop this fucker up to be the hero, the guy, and then he just bites the big one. Like that works only in this form of the show.
mhm, mhm.
Or at least in this like, the first season of or the first half of the first season of this show. I could see a She-Ra-esque He-Man where it's like you could have 5, maybe 6 seasons where you build this character up, you get to know everyone a little bit more, um, and then the 4th season, you kill off He-Man, and you
Right.
get to know your character. Because by then, you will have gotten to know someone like Tila or Duncan a little bit more, and then the 4th season just pulls the rug out from under them, and the last 2 seasons, it's kind of more about how they deal with his loss or how they move on or who they are in the absence of this character. Or fuck, I mean, I don't even know, just kill him off in the 3rd season too. But the reason I say this is I really would have liked that same kind of uh positivity that I think She-Ra just almost naturally exuded. I keep
Mhm.
thinking to myself because my girlfriend and I were both watching what is it, He-Man, and there's this bit where I think the only time Adam does the transformation into He-Man, and we're both thinking to ourselves, or we're both saying to ourselves, Jesus. We're both saying to each other, man, that first transformation moment when he has his shirt off and he's still buff is fine. But then he's like so unrulingly like built, and like everyone is like everyone's doing fucking squats and push-ups right before shooting this fucking show. I feel like the art style of She-Ra might have been a little more enjoyable, and I feel like the tone of She-Ra might have also been more enjoyable. Because when I heard that this show was going to get made by Kevin Smith too, like years ago, I thought I honestly thought that this was going to be a partner show to She-Ra, and I would have loved to have
Mhm.
seen that. I don't have a problem with this show existing as it does. I just I think there are a lot of benefits to reimagining the character. That's all. Because again, like we were talking about, She-Ra went from like this I mean, I don't have any bona fides in the franchise, but
Mhm.
the only time I ever really remember seeing anything about She-Ra was like one cartoon and then every conceivable joke made on Robot Chicken about her.
Yeah.
And that was it. And She-Ra did so fucking much for that character and not only made her a more recognizable figure, but I think was a great commentary on on like forgiveness, on help building healthy relationships, and just really good character development. Catra has a great fucking villain arc and a great redemption. And I feel like they could do the same thing with Evil Lynn. I would love to
Okay.
see the second half of this season kind of show us what Evil Lynn's internal monologue is, what her struggle
Mhm.
is. Because I mean, I get what her struggle is, but I would like to see how that manifests. I want to see where she ends up.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, fuck fans sometimes though.
Yeah, I agree. Awesome. I'm
Ugh.
glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't even be about 2 hours and 15 minutes. I recommend give it a watch if you can.
Okay. I will add it to the list.
I'm gonna
Speaking
fucking
of
hold you to it, motherfucker.
speaking of lists, is there any movies you would want to review slash talk about?
There is one at the moment that I do want to review,
Okay.
and there are a couple that I want to preview.
Okay.
Um, so let's see. I watched Blood Red Sky on I think Monday or Monday.
Okay.
Blood Red Sky is essentially no, that's not nice. Let me say that later. Blood Red Sky is a German American production.
Mm-hmm.
It is a vampire hostage airplane movie.
Okay.
So a young woman travels with her son from where I can assume is probably Germany to New York to undergo an experiment that I can only assume is meant to rid her of her vampirism.
Okay.
The only problem is the flight itself is hijacked by terrorists,
Oh no.
and she has to use her vampire-like abilities to yeah.
Okay.
Um Now I'll get to what I was going to say. This feels a lot like Train to Busan but for vampires.
Got it.
I feel I wanted to like this movie. I tend to like gimmicky movies like that where it's like, oh, it's kind of like Die Hard, but there's like another thing in there, like, oh, it's zombies, or like like Army of the Dead, like, oh, it's a heist movie, but it's got zombies, or it's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, it's a werewolf movie, but it's got more stuff to it.
Yeah.
Um, the main actress, I don't even know her name. Uh, the main actress who plays the mother. Uh, I don't know if she plays the same character with or without the makeup on, but she does a lot of really great like body acting or bodily acting. I don't know what the term would be.
Okay.
Um, God, I'm trying to think of what to say. Man. Okay, so
Mm.
I feel as though the movie wants to hit a lot of plot points, but it makes the movie's production kind of messy. Um,
Mm.
the actress playing the main character is pretty good. She does a really good job at kind of conveying this character who is always on the verge of doing something terrible, but doing it for the right reasons. Uh, I think I know next to no one in this movie. Um, there's always something going on, and I don't mean that in a good way. Uh, there are a couple flashbacks in this movie that kind of explain how she became a vampire, and I didn't really need it. I think it sucked the air out of a lot of the tension in the film. Um, it's a God. I want to talk about this movie in a way that shows that I like it, but I feel like I had more problems with it. Um, Long story short, one of the members of the terrorist group is kind of like a psychopath, and he realizes that the person defending some of these people is a vampire. So he takes some of her blood and becomes a vampire himself, and he ends up turning a bunch of people. Um, and then he ends up turning the entire plane. full of vampires.
Huh.
Uh, so I feel like not much of this movie has many stakes. The only real stake, I think, is making sure that the son gets out of this alive. But there's no greater movement to the story, or there's no greater pressing matter to the story, because everyone in the plane gets fucking turned, and they don't matter until they get turned, and that's kind of the disappointing part. This movie is about you know, this woman who's in an airtight missile, essentially, with like 200, or not 200, but like 100 other people, and the plane gets hijacked and they don't even matter.
Hmm.
And they only matter until, the very end, the uh when the entire passenger crew gets turned into vampires. Um God, I thought I'd have more to say about this movie, but I really fucking don't. Go check it out, despite what I fucking said about it.
Yeah.
It's a movie. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a movie.
It is. It sounds like a movie I'd watch back in high school when I would go through the Comcast on demand and then have the free movie section. Um
Yeah, I guess I could watch that.
yeah. Yeah. I actually saw a lot of really good movies out of there. I actually saw Dead Alive through that. So,
Ooh,
yeah.
nice.
So, not wasn't horrible. But yeah. You wanted to preview a couple movies?
Yeah, of course, all the time. Um, so the first one is a film called Pig. No, so this movie is getting a lot of buzz. It's called Pig. It's the story of a reclusive truffle forager, Nicolas Cage. I'm looking for a truffle pig. Whose pig friend, who helps him find truffles, by the way, goes missing, and he bobs and weaves through the seedy gourmet world to search for his grieving tool. Uh, There are some elements of John Wick in there, if you haven't realized already. Um, this is getting some good reviews, Pig. Red Letter Media said they're not quite sure if the script elevates Nicolas Cage, or if Nicolas Cage elevates the script, or if it's a mixture of both. But Nicolas Cage is very good in this.
Hmm.
Uh, the film is a first-time directorial debut, with a couple of other solid performances in it. There's an actor, Alex Wolff, who is also in Old, that I actually saw as well.
Hmm.
Uh, that apparently gets a lot of rave reviews in as well. Um, I have not seen this yet. I'm deciding whether or not to see it or The Green Knight, which is a modern play on the Arthurian legend of the Green Knight of Sir Gawain. This has been a movie that was supposed to be released a while ago. Um, it stars Dev Patel and has Sean Harris, Alicia Vikander in it, or Alicia Vikander. I don't quite know.
Hmm.
And again, is kind of like a modern take on the Arthurian tale. Uh,
Hmm.
it has a very distinct look. I don't want to say that Pig doesn't. Pig has a very gloomy and unsanitized feeling to it from what I've seen in the trailers. But Green Knight has a very counter to uh, typical Arthurian legend vibe, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
They've kind of thrown the historical, well, Arthurian legend is a legend; it's not historically accurate. But
Hmm.
many movies have tried to place Arthur somewhere, you know?
Yeah.
Excalibur is a prime example of like the stereotypical Arthurian Legend of the Round Table and knights in shining armor.
Hmm.
There was the Arthur, I think about 15 years ago. Jesus, I'm old. With Clive Owen, which sought to place him somewhere around the end of the Roman Empire,
Mm.
give him a very kind of common era vibe. Um, but this seems to want to lean heavily into the legend aspect. It doesn't seem to really care much about time or people necessarily. I think it's more concerned about telling the point of the story itself, the reconciliation with death or despair. I'm really interested in seeing this. Dev Patel is an actor that I have always enjoyed. I don't think there's been a performance that I've ever not enjoyed him in. Slumdog Millionaire, of course, his breakout performance. Uh, he had a very meaty performance in the television HBO show
Hmm.
Newsroom that I absolutely adore him in. He has a laundry list of performances, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him in this too. It's another really great lead role for him. He looks like he looks like he's having fun with it. Um, God, what else? I was supposed to say like a whole, bevy of things. You know what? I believe Suicide Squad is coming out before our next whatchamahoo's it? Before our next podcast.
Oh yeah, I have
Yeah.
a same director as Guardians of the Galaxy, right?
Yep, James Gunn. So I'm interested in seeing how he does this. I'm hearing some really good things about it already.
Hmm.
Um I feel like hmm, I feel like this route is somewhere DC should probably go from.
Okay.
By that I mean I feel like this tone that that they've been building up with stuff like Birds of Prey, this Suicide Squad is something that I think DC movies should build off of. Uh, I mean, I would have liked to have seen a coherent thing beginning with Superman, uh, you know, but we all know how that turned out. Anywho,
Yeah.
I do feel like Birds of Prey, if a little eh, was still a particularly enjoyable movie. And I did like the tone. I loved the world building. And I want to see how they do that with this Suicide Squad. Uh, it looks like they're introducing a lot more people who are just going to get fucking blown the fuck out the moment you see them. So I'm liking that, really playing into the actual Suicide Squad part.
Hmm.
The performances look good. Honestly, John Cena, I mean, the guy can't act his way out of a fucking paper bag, but he looks like he's having fun with it. And to be honest, I really think that's more important in this case.
Right.
Uh, honestly, I do think the standout is going to be Polka Dot Man.
Oh. Okay.
Uh, I don't know what it is about him, but David, God, I can't pronounce his name. David Dashiell Maine. Um, he's hitting a lot of really important career beats right now.
Hmm.
He's in this. He was in the two Ant-Man movies. He was in The Dark Knight. He's going to be in Dune. Like he's making a solid name for himself as a very idiosyncratic actor. Or maybe not idiosyncratic, but definitely someone who I think has a place, has a good future coming. Because I the Polka Dot Man character just looks so silly. And James Gunn said he specifically chose the character because he considers Polka Dot Man to be like the most pathetic villain or the
Hmm.
most pathetic supervillain.
Okay.
And when he chose these majority of these characters to be in this movie, he said, I don't know how true this is, but it's something that's thrown around in the internet a lot. He said, "I chose a lot of these characters because I find that there's nothing more sad than a supervillain who's not that good at being bad."
Hmm.
And I think the Polka Dot Man, I think, is the perfect example of that.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to seeing that too. I can't quite tell. I'm not. I haven't been looking at my computer yet of upcoming attractions, so I'm not entirely sure what is out yet or what will be coming out. But I'm definitely down to preview another couple of movies coming out. Oh, fuck it. Demonic.
Mm-hmm.
I've been mentioning that before, and I'll mention it again. Neil Blomkamp's sci-fi horror looks pretty interesting. A man goes inside the virtual representation of his mother, or of her mother,
Mm.
a woman who has been in a catatonic or vegetative state for years, and unwittingly unleashes an evil.
Ooh.
Hmm. Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah.
Always been a fan of Neil Blomkamp. I know that he's produced a couple of duds. Even if I enjoy them, I'll always be mad that the Alien movie hasn't come out yet. But I think this is where he's at his strongest, when he is doing smaller, tighter, uh, smaller,
Yeah.
tighter films with a very pointed budget.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited. I'm smeg-cited.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
So
that's about it for the recommendations.
awesome. So we've talked about film. We're gonna move on to video games. We're gonna talk about something that we should have talked about probably like 2 or 3 weeks ago, but we're gonna talk about it now because we just kept forgetting. Steam Deck.
Oh, sorry guys, that's all the time we have. Good night. Oh, fucking Steam Deck. Yeah. The new handheld computer.
Mm-hmm.
This is interesting. This actually looks really good. Harry, you're gonna have to talk about the specs. You've been on top of it lately.
Have I?
Yeah, you really fucking have.
I have not. Let me
You really have. I'm gonna keep you there. Um, the Steam Deck is Valve's handheld computer, essentially. Their opponent to the Switch, or well, pretty much everything, but most resembling the Switch.
Mhm.
Um, it's being able to tout it's been touting being able to play pretty much any game on its system. I mean, it probably can't play that many, but still says that it can probably play a high performance game.
Mhm.
There are a couple of different iterations. There's I think a $500 one, a $400 one, a $500 one, and a $600 variant of the game too. You can
Yes.
purchase external hard drives for it. Um, but apparently it acts almost exactly like a lap or a basic computer, just in the palm of your hands.
Mhm. Okay, so I have the specs here. So your pricing is 400 for 64 gigs,
Mm.
530 for 256, and 650 for 512. They're all solid state drives, which is fucking amazing. Um, so the CPU is an AMD Zen 2, which is nice. 4 core, 8 thread. CPU clock speed, I mean 2.4 to 3.5 isn't horrible. The GPU is a AMD RDNA 2, also not bad. 16 gigabytes of RAM isn't horrible. Um, and again, the storage, I mean, it's nice that it's an SSD, but the amount of game, how, like, the amount of storage games take right now, 512 gigabytes isn't that great,
Right.
but at the same time, like, because it's more meant for like handheld, I don't think the games that are handheld are going to be taking that much storage.
Hmm.
Um,
I do believe they
yeah,
seem to have mentioned that like one high functioning game is probably the most they can do for the lower performing one.
yeah. So I mean, specs wise, it's not horrible. You're right. It's like a small. It's like having a laptop, but you know, just kind of like the Switch, which it's not bad. I mean, I've never been into like the only handheld console that I have is original Game Boy Color, right?
Hmm.
That's all I've ever had. Um, Beyond that, I mean, there's not many games I would want to take on the road that I
Right.
would need. The way I'm looking at it now, and the way I'm holding that controller or device, I'm not about it. I'm not about the
Hmm.
way where the buttons and joysticks are at.
It
I
seems
wouldn't
to
play
be
this.
comfortable, but for
Yeah.
some people reviewing it, but I do agree with you.
Yeah, like I'm sure people who've played the Switch would have no issues with it, but I don't own a Switch. I don't like playing Switch like that. Like I'll
Hmm.
play casually with people, but like this, no, that's not for me. Um and the thing that the Switch has that it's just you can put it on a TV, big TV.
Yeah.
Um with just placing it on the dock and then there you go. I can play on the TV now. So like it would be nice to play certain games handheld, take on the road. It's cool, you know. I mean, we've been waiting for the Steam console for a while now. Um
Yeah.
and
And they're also
uh,
going to be keeping the little haptic nubbins that lead directly to Gabe Newell's nipples too. So I think
mhm,
that's a pretty interesting feature too.
yeah. Um yeah, I mean, I guess I can see the hype. I mean, it's the first like thing that's trying to compete against Nintendo, which many have tried and failed already. I don't think Steam's gonna be the one to do it. Um, no offense. It's just the what Nintendo has is that it has what's the term? IPs? Is that the term?
Yes.
Yes.
Intellectual property.
Thank you. Yes, they have the IPs. You can only play those games on the Nintendo Switch. Steam, I can play those games probably on my PS4 and on my PC. I don't know if I would want to take those games out on the road.
Hmm.
I mean, good on them on trying. I mean, I'm sure they'll do fine. I just don't. I think what's gonna happen is something similar to like the PSP and the PS Vita. Like they're great, but also,
Yeah.
you know, like what do you have that? Because again, there's only one other handheld consoles, and that's all of Nintendo stuff.
Yeah.
Anything else that's coming out that's has come out has not compared to it. Nowhere near.
Right.
Um,
I wonder because then you still have to deal with certain games that aren't adapted for handheld play or controller
right.
based play.
Hmm.
So I think it's still kind of a trade-off because not every computer game is built for that kind of
Yeah,
uh,
I'm sure there's going to be a list of games that either can or do not work with the Steam Deck. But
yeah.
we'll see. I mean, it's coming out when. I mean, this is pre-orders, so it's like,
Oh, there have also been huge attempts to scam too, and the site crashed from
oh, I'm
an
sure.
influx of people.
Yeah, so it's coming 2022. So we'll see. I mean, right now, specs wise, they don't look bad. The SSD fucking helps a lot. I'm glad
Yeah.
they added that. But again, handheld, eh. I mean, it's gonna be hard to convince people who are playing their PC games on their PC to buy a Steam Deck. And or like convince people who play Switch to play not a Switch. You know?
Yeah, I hear where you're coming with that. I don't. You were talking about IPs, and that's well and good, but I just can't think of. I can't. I mean, the point would be, okay, we want to develop something that we want people to get excited about. Like we want
Yeah.
someone to like play this instead of like a Switch console, right? So
Yeah.
you run into some problems there because it's like Nintendo has like fierce copywritten or not copywritten, but IP that's like only for Nintendo based products, and that's fine because it's like they don't have computer games, and Steam has the benefit of like literally any playable fucking computer game. But I don't think any of them are really designed in that enjoyable way that like a Nintendo. I don't know. I don't because all this feels more intuitive than like marketplacey, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm interested in seeing where it goes. I would like to see what the Steam Deck has to offer
Yeah. I agree.
and what it does differently than other consoles or does differently than the I guess the Switch.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Then yeah.
We'll see what happens. Next, I'm sure you have some to say about oh, there goes my phone. Halo Infinite.
Yeah, they just released the uh essentially the beta for
Oh,
people who
okay.
signed up to play. So I didn't because I am not up to date technologically, so that doesn't hurt at all. No, I've been watching a couple videos on folks playing it, and it seems pretty enjoyable. Again, I'd have to play it myself to get an idea of how the mechanics feel, but it looks fun. They haven't gotten rid of the aim down sights technically.
Okay.
They still have something called Smart Scope, which
Okay.
is essentially just like slightly zooming in a different way. They don't have like aiming down on the typical modern warfare style sights. They're tricky little bastards. They kept the smart scope style of aiming. Other than that, it looks pretty interesting because it doesn't seem like many people are using it, and the gameplay feels very Halo Reach like almost,
Okay.
which is I think the multiplayer that I most enjoyed.
Hmm.
I think what everyone is really excited for is weapon customization and armor customization most of all. I think that's kind of what's getting everyone's goat a bit. If that's even the right expression. Uh, the level of customization involved is pretty interesting and is pretty fun too. Another thing that you can do is you can purchase previous seasons.
Oh.
Yes, so you will never miss out. All you have to do is just, well, I mean, of course, you're still missing out technically,
Right.
but you can opt to play the previous season and you won't miss out on the materials and the goodies that say past like 6 months ago. So
Yep.
I think that's pretty interesting, and that's a nice little
Okay.
feature that I think people definitely appreciate.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds amazing because.
I've yeah, I've always been more a fan of exclusivity based on skill.
Hmm.
If you play this enough times or you do this or you get this incredible trick shot like hey, here's a weapon skin or an armor skin
Yeah.
or a helmet or something to show off the quality of your style, right?
Yeah.
I've never quite been a fan of like timed stuff. It's just for me that's artificial scarcity. It's like, oh hey, get this, get, come on, buy it, buy it, And I've never
Yeah.
really been a big fan of that. I've always been more of a fan of like, hey, everything that we have is available to the public. It just requires skill to get it.
Yep.
and it requires effort to get it. Like, we
Yeah.
have all this armor, we all have this great armor, but we do want you to actually play the game to get it.
Right.
And I really prefer that instead, because like I'm a dog shit player, but if I knew that I wasn't under the pressure of like a time limit, and I knew
Mm-hmm.
that like
Mm-hmm.
if I practiced enough, or which I never do, but if I practiced enough, or if I committed this time and effort to actually trying, that I could get it. I think that's more rewarding, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And I get some people enjoy stuff like that from Destiny, where it's like, hey, we killed this nameless asshole or the Taken King, and we got this special thing. That's fine, I guess, but it doesn't have the same vibe for me, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
I
I'm
think
I'm excited. It looks good.
awesome. Again, I didn't grow up playing Halo, so I'm not. I don't know. No,
I'm gonna
like I
make you excited, you
like
motherfucker.
I don't know. Like I think I'd be down to try it out. I still say that a Halo BR would be fucking amazing, and I'd play the shit out of it. But multiplayer. Oh, the multiplayer is free, right? They're saying that it's free for everyone.
I think it is, yeah.
Oh,
It's just you just have to sign up, or I don't know if that's late or not. I'm not entirely sure.
we'll find out.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Another one of those. We'll see. Uh, so the last topic is for me. Um, so I like Magic the Gathering. I love Magic the Gathering. And they
I
did
couldn't
this,
tell.
and they did this thing. Did you know that they have an online version of that?
What?
Yeah, it's called Magic Arena. You can play it
Oh,
on your computer digitally, or most recently, you play it on your phone digitally. Pretty dope, right?
you
Play
play
it
it
on
on
the
your
go.
phone? Actually,
Yeah, you play it on your phone for free. It's free to
fuck.
play, right? Pretty dope. And I've actually been enjoying it. The the economy of getting cards is a little uh
Eh.
not the greatest.
Mm,
But it's still Magic. I'm still getting cards. I can still play cards that, some cards that I like, and I can, build decks, and I can play against people, and I can play against my friends occasionally, right?
right.
Um, so overall, it's still Magic. Um, Earlier this week, they announced that they're releasing uh digital only cards. So these are cards that are only going
What?
to be on Arena and are not going to touch paper Magic. Um, which I'm I'm not against. I'm just not okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like I get why they're doing it because the abilities are how do I say it? They work fine online, but if you try to do it in real life, like in paper Magic, it just wouldn't work, right?
Right.
A big example is there's one card that says when it enters the battlefield, you search or it's gonna grab a random non-land permanent that's CMC 2 and below and put it into your hand. You can't do that in paper Magic.
Mm-hmm.
You would have to go through your entire deck, look for all this non-land permanents that are 2 CMC and below, put them on the table, roll a dice, and see which one you
Yeah.
get. And then you have to reshuffle your deck. It's just this whole ordeal if that were to happen, right? There's another ability where it says it's called perpetually or something like that. So basically it like this creature card in your hand perpetually gets +2/+2. So that means for the rest of the game that creature has +2/+2. Whether it's in your
Oh
hand,
wow.
on the graveyard, or on the battlefield, in the graveyard, in the library, in exile, wherever, it's always going to have +2/+2. You can't do that in paper Magic,
God
right?
damn. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fucking OP.
Yeah. So I get that these cards would only work online, but it's still like I don't want to play with these cards.
Yeah, that would
Um,
be
because
difficult.
the whole reason why I play Arena is because I can't always play Paper Magic, you know? Um, and so now that they're changing things on Magic Arena, I'm just kind of like the only format I can play that's constructed is standard, and I don't like playing standard. Because it's only the new sets. Like, I want to
Yeah.
have access to as many cards as possible so I can do silly shenanigans and stuff like that. But I also don't like the idea of these cards that are digital only. And it just kind of bothers me where I would, like, again, they can totally do it. I know people are going to like it and people are going to be okay with it and life's going to move on, right? This
Yeah.
Magic Arena is a digital form of Magic. If they want to add digital only cards, that's fine. Go for it. Me personally, I don't think I'm going to continue playing the game because at this point, there's no benefit for me. Because if you're just going to, like, this is one time, what's going to stop them from doing it again, right?
Hmm.
Like, my hopes were they're going to add cards from, old sets little by little, and I would be able to play my favorite cards from back in the day, now on digital, right? And the whole reason why I liked Arena compared to what is Magic Online, which has been like the digital way to play Magic for a very long time, is that it just has a way nicer interface, right? It's a
Hmm.
lot more visually pleasing when you play it. Magic Online is not. It looks like you're still playing from like fucking Windows 95 and shit. Um yeah, which is fine, right? Because it's not meant to look good. Meant to play Magic the Gathering online.
Yeah, who doesn't love retro?
Yeah. Um and that's why I've always like been like, yeah, I wanted to keep in I say invest well, yes. I want to invest time into Arena cuz hopefully at one point I'll be able to play Commander with my friends, right? On
Hmm.
Arena or play Modern on Arena. At some point, who knows, right? Um, but like that's still possible down the road, but as of right now, it doesn't look good, right?
Yeah.
And the thing that bums me out the most is they're releasing this new set with those cards, right? But while they're releasing this new set, they're releasing a bunch of other old cards back into Arena as well. And
Oh, so they're kind of just flooding it with old and exclusive stuff.
yeah, like so it's not like
Oh, they're trying to
specifics.
like up the desire to play, the increase some of the exclusivity from playing.
Yeah, so like I'm excited about the new cards that are being not the new cards, but uh older cards that are being newly introduced to Arena. Like they're adding a bunch of ninjas into Arena. They're bringing some squirrels, uh zombies, like some really cool zombie cards, and I'm like, "Oh
Hmm.
dude, I really want to play with these cards, but the thing is like, oh, but there's all those other new cards that I kind of don't want to deal with." So I'll have to see. Like I've been kind of on a lull on it, and I think that's why I'm easily gonna just walk away from it. But like, maybe I can get away with just ignoring the new cards. But
Hmm.
I just feel like there's so many other games, digital trading card games that do that, or that have a way better economy for cards. For example, Hearthstone. The way you get cards from Hearthstone is you get dust, right? You collect dust, and then depending on the rarity of the card, you use up dust to create that card. And the way you get dust is you play, and also let's say you buy packs, but you don't like those cards. So what you do is you I forgot what the term is, but basically you turn them into dust, so you can get
Okay.
dust off of cards that you don't want. So then you can keep buying packs, keep getting more dust until you get the cards you want. So that works because in Arena, you have like, I have full playsets of cards I'm never going to touch, but I can't do anything about that. They just sit there. And I'm just like, I'm never going to use these cards.
Hmm.
But I want this other card, but I can't get it because I'm just not opening packs for it, right?
Right.
And when I play draft, I'm not getting it. So it's like that's the annoying part about arena. Like even if you have already a full playset of a card, it is what it is, right? So that's what kind of sucks about arena compared to
That
like
kind
other
of
trade.
sucks. You can't just opt out.
Yeah, and the thing is, you can't buy singles in arena. You can't just be like, hey, I want to spend $5, like actual $5 on buying this card or buying this full deck or whatever, right? You can't do that. You can pay money to buy packs and hopefully you get it, but that's it.
I feel like I don't know. I
So,
wonder what the point of replicating the experience of just playing Magic like a normal human being,
mhm,
what that benefit is if you're doing it on I don't know. I feel like the point of doing it online, God, you would just because you're just milking people at that point.
yes,
But like, if
100%.
you want to just play like an actual fucking online version of MTG, then God, it sucks when I say it because it's like that wouldn't make any money. But it's like, yeah, you could just no, fuck it, just do a subscription base and be like, hey, you get every single card that's in fucking existence, and you can play, and it's like $5 a month.
You know, I think a lot of people would be down for that.
And yeah, exactly. And then you can pick any kind of format you want. You can you can build lobbies and forums within that platform where it's
Mhm.
like, hey, fucking MTGers who wants to play nothing but fucking Strixhaven cards. Yeah,
Mhm.
that'd be fun, right? Or oh, who's up for fucking modern or shit like that. Or it's like,
Yeah.
oh, hey, we've introduced some new prototype cards that we're testing out in this platform to distribute to see, that would be the thing. That would be great. You could test new cards and mechanics online so
Yeah.
that you can disperse them in the real world and play test them so that they're able to be used in the real world.
Yeah. That's something that they always talked about, but the problem with that is uh because they follow a story. So if they release, like, let's say a new planeswalker, um
Mhm.
this kind of ruins the story for people. And
Oh yeah,
lore wise, yeah, so it's like it'd be nice, but like people would have to sign NDAs, but people
not as
not people won't follow them, and they'll release things and stuff like that. So that's issues with that. But no, you're right, the way you described it would be great, but again, they probably will make way less money than they do now. Like right now, they make
yeah,
so much money for people buying packs, digital packs. And look at
yeah.
this. One digital pack only comes with 8 cards, where like a paper pack
That's way
comes
less.
with 15. Yeah, exactly. So it's like, but people are still paying to get those packs because that's really the only way for you to get the cards you need. Yeah, it's really bad. And the thing is, I'm not the only one who talks about it. Every single person who plays Magic Arena talks about it, and they haven't really changed anything. Um, so I did forget to mention that there are things called wild cards. So you can use wild cards to get specific cards, but these wild cards are based off of rarity. So there's common, uncommon, rare, and mythic rare. Obviously, the mythic rare wild cards are really difficult to get. Rare wild cards are second hardest to get, and so on and so forth. Um, and you do earn them uh by getting packs. So sometimes you get one by opening a pack. Like instead of you getting a rare or an uncommon or mythic or an uncommon, like you get a wild card of that rarity. So you can use it to get the rare you want or the common you want. And then for every, I believe, 6 packs, you get an uncommon wild card
Hmm.
and um a rare wild card, but the rare every fourth cycle becomes a mythic rare. So if you
Ooh,
just keep opening a bunch of packs, you will get wild cards. But again, you have to keep opening packs. So
yeah.
that's the downside. Um, and if you do drafts, you don't get wild cards. You get whatever you draft. So
Mm,
that's the downside with that. You get packs as rewards depending on how many wins you get in the draft, right? But
uh-huh.
still, it's like you that's it. You get like maybe 1 or 2 packs. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of issues with Arena. I think this kind of just did it for me. Um, some of the cards look cool, and some of the cards don't look broken, right? They don't look
Yeah.
like oh my god, they're totally gonna break the format. It's like, but it's still kind of like I just want to play like this game digitally, but just paper magic cards.
Yeah.
Um, well, that's just me. Like I'm not asking him
No,
to
no,
remove
no.
them. Yeah,
I, I'm, I completely agree with what you're saying.
you know, like I don't know. It's just I want to throw it out there.
It would
Like
be
it's
nice.
yeah, it's news, right? It's Arena adding digital only cards, and just me throwing my 2 cents and how I feel. And like the thing is though, like I'm still playing it. I'm still getting my dailies and stuff like that, just because I have hope that they bring like they make like let's say they bring modern into arena, right? We're like, okay,
Mhm.
modern only, right? And that excludes those digital only cards. So I can play modern on arena and not worry about those digital only cards, which I'm like kind of like, it can get there cuz like I said, they're adding a bunch of cards, from older sets. So it's like at some point I will be able to play arena or modern in arena. Same thing with commander. At some point they're gonna add all the old cards, and we would be able to play commander on arena. I don't know if 4 player commander will happen on arena. I would fucking love it, but I don't know if they're gonna
Be
be doing
fine.
it. Yeah. Um, but it's a possibility. Even
Hmm.
brawl. So brawl is the same shit as commander. Think of commander, but it's standard legal cards only, and it's 60 cards instead of 100. So, and it's meant for 1v1, which is kind of stupid because you're just like, why don't I just play commander? And that's what everyone's saying about brawl. And there's like, I think we've told you before, there's like the joke where like this one person signed up um for a brawl event at a magic event, and they won all the prizes because they're the
Mm,
only ones who signed up for it.
fucking
So
asshole.
yeah.
Good for
But I
them.
mean, well, I mean, it's like no one wants to play brawl, man. It's worse than commander because you get to play with less cards and you only play with standard legal cards. So when the cards rotate, you're losing out on cards. Now you have to build a whole different deck. So it's like,
Mhm.
what the hell's the point? At least with standard, like it's a big format that has a bunch of events for it and stuff like that. So it's like anything that rotates isn't casual because you have to keep buying new cards. So it's like I don't know what they were thinking with Brawl, but that's a format in Arena. But what they recently did is they added Historic Brawl, which is basically every card in Arena, uh, and they made it 100 cards. So they basically made um, Commander in Arena, but they're calling it Historic Brawl, which is kind of stupid. But whatever. Um, yeah. So there's upsides. Arena could turn into me playing modern on Arena and Commander possibly, but I don't know when that's gonna be. you know.
Hmm.
So I'm like kind of in debate of like, do I keep playing and do I keep earning things in it? So like, if they do bring it back, like I'm not gonna be so far behind and stuff like that. So we'll see. We'll see. It's another one, you know, quote unquote. We'll see.
We shall see.
And that's the end of our
Dude, that
agenda.
sucks.
Yeah,
Now that I think about it, I'd fucking hate to get essentially priced out of a fucking game. That would be fucking awful.
yeah.
I'm sorry about that, dude.
No, it's fine. I mean, again, like I'm sure the cards are fine. I'm sure I'm gonna keep playing it, and then I'm gonna play with some of these cards. And be like, it's fine. The only thing is now it's a completely different format that I'm gonna be playing than like modern or commander.
Hmm.
So that's it.
Oh man. Well. I mean, still, it's just not a fun prospect. I'm sorry about that, though.
Yeah, yeah,
Seriously.
yeah. It's all right. I have other games I can play,
Like Divinity.
like Divinity and Diablo 3 and
Diablo.
fucking Blood Back for Blood is gonna come out soon,
Oh
and
shit
then
ass, that's coming out soon. Oh fuck, you know what we should try?
hmm,
Alien Fireteam Elite.
okay, I think someone brought. Oh, did you bring that up last time?
Yeah.
Okay,
It's a game that might hold us at bay for a little while.
okay,
Yeah, I'm interested. I'm interested in giving it a try. I love aliens. They
oh, fair
haven't made a
enough.
good alien game in ever, so
True, true, true. Yeah. Anything else?
no, I think that's about it.
Fuck yeah, dude. We hit that 2.5 hour mark.
God, all you did was fucking talk.
Do you know what episode number this is?
20?
32.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Um, you know,
My God, and almost all of it is just me fucking talking.
and
Jesus.
I forgot to bring up 25. I think I talked. Forgot to bring up 25. Quarter. Of 100, and
Fuck,
then
now we can only do it to level episode 50.
yeah,
We have to wait another fucking 18 episodes. God damn
dude,
you.
we missed out with the barely legal 18th episode.
Yeah,
Fucking
I know, right?
legal to drink episode
The
21.
Dirty 30 episode.
The dirty 30. Fuck.
The Terrible Twos.
Shit. Our fucking second episode was probably terrible. Worse.
Hey, I would imagine it's not that bad.
Yeah, probably not as. I think we've just been consistently just ourselves.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Consistently awful human beings.
You know.
I love it.
All right, you ready to do the outro?
Wait,
Huh?
I'm thinking of something and I can't remember what it was. Fuck. All right, folks. If you liked our videos, go up on YouTube, like and subscribe. We love it when you like and subscribe. Like a shot of Bishotti, okay? Like and subscribe. Do I need to say it again?
Probably.
Like and subscribe. All right. I don't know what's going on with me. I've lost all my trains of thoughts. So, YouTube, email. If you want to tell us how fucking awful we are, please, by all means, if you have any recommendations, if you want to come on, maybe take to the phones and we can hash out some new ideas together. We can tell you how bad you are. You could hit us up at hittingthemark2020@gmail.com. Also, if you want to see the latest things that we're talking about, retweets, hashtags, baldick dick butts, you can hit us up at capital H, capital T, capital M underscore podcast. HTM underscore podcast. All right, folks. That was a wonderful time. I always love talking to you, Harry, and I'm looking forward to next week.
Same.
Good. Good.
Bye bye.
Auf Wiedersehen, assholes.